This is the first generation Hypervenom. This is a Hypervenom 2. And this is what happens when you go past the Hypervenom 2 as an ascended Hypervenom, or you can call it a Hypervenom 3. And this is what happens when you go even further beyond. And these are what you call the Nike Phantom Ultra Venom. Hello and welcome to SubStanceFtbl. My name is Sub, and in this video we're going to be talking about what may well be the best pair of footballs that I have ever used. Now, before we get into the review / playtest, like I always say, please like the video, it goes a long way. And if you're new to my content and unfamiliar with who I am, I make videos around football apparel, so that's things like boots, kits, all types of football gear. So that's your thing, be sure to subscribe to the channel. So starting off with the design and innovation of the boot, what essentially the Ultra Venom is the Hypervenom 3 with the flyknit Ultra treatment. So 5 years ago, you know, the flyknit Mercurial came out, and this is just the Hypervenom equivalent of it. So similarly to the Mercurial Ultra flyknit, or the flyknit Ultra, we're going to get mixed up a lot in this video, you have the whole flyknit upper with the exposed yarns, with a silicone kind of layer for protection over them. Now, I think these boots were meant to come out 5 years ago, but like even using them now, they don't feel any out of place. I've got a lot of like the most recent boots, and still these feel as if they could be worn today. Now, although the boot does look like a Hypervenom 3, it has a lot of characteristics of the Phantom GT series as well. So if you look at maybe the kind of ridges on the front, you have like the kind of ones that are like maybe silicone-ish, and then you go to the ones that are flying as you get more or you go across the boot. So it's like transitioning from like the GT texturing to the Hypervenom kind of stitching. Now, another similarity that the Ultra Venom does share with the Hypervenom 3 is the sole plate. So here you have the hyper reactive sole plate that was used on the Hypervenom 3. That's a big fan for a lot of people, and I am one of those people as well. And when the boot came, it did have this kind of chrome finish. You can't really see it, it's still a bit there, but like, yeah, it comes with a warning label as well that it will wear off after a few games. That can't not expect that to happen. But yeah, in terms of tech specs, that's pretty much it. It's not a completely new concept, but it's still a very impressive boot nonetheless. Also, I forgot to mention, if you look on the heels of the boot, you see that it's got the Phantom on one, and then you've got the Hypervenom on the other, just to like show that the boot is pretty much like the best of both worlds, or it kind of shows that kind of lineage between the two series of boots. Now, when it comes to comfort, this is one of the best boots that I've used straight out the box in terms of comfort. There's literally zero break-in time. I don't usually wear new boots into a competitive match, but I did the first time around when I played with these, and like after maybe half time, it felt like I'd been wearing these for like months. It's actually ridiculous how comfortable these boots are. In terms of sizing, I went true to size, but these boots, they're quite wide fitting as well, so maybe I possibly could have gone a half size down. I usually wear 9.5 UK, but yeah, they're quite wide. They accommodate a lot of wide feet, so yeah, and I'm a big fan of that as well. I'm not someone who likes that kind of wrapped up feeling of like speed boots. I'm more like a kind of like comfort in boots more than anything else, and these are immaculate when it comes to comfort. So when I test the responsiveness or lockdown of a boot, what I usually do is I just run in a straight line. That gives me like a good impression of how responsive the sole plate is and the amount of lockdown the boot offers. In terms of lockdown, even though it's quite wide fitting, you do get like a decent amount of lockdown. It's not aggressive like you'd say in a speed boot like a Mercurial, for example, but it still provides a very good amount of lockdown. I didn't have any like heel slippage inside the boot. My boot stayed planted inside my foot, and I did the test without grip hooks as well. I know Nike have their insoles with like the Nike grip technology, so you don't slip, and this is maybe one of the first boots where I actually felt, yeah, I've not slipped, even though it is quite wide fitting as well. Now again, in terms of responsiveness, the sole plate itself is quite flexible for maybe someone that's just new out of the box, and it's not like the kind of aggressive responsiveness you're going to get from a Mercurial or Speedflow or whatever it is, but it still offers a good amount of like, you know, keeps you on the toes kind of feeling as well, but it's nothing like, you don't have that too much of a laid back sensation as well. But yeah, in terms of, it's like perfect for me. I'm not a fan of like always being on your toes in terms of like responsiveness, and I don't like that feeling, but I like that kind of like laid back feel when I'm wearing falls, like almost like you're wearing slippers. So when I do test for traction in football boots, what I like to do is these slaloms where it forces me to change direction very quickly. And like I said before, the Ultra Venom has the hyper reactive sole plate that you saw on the Hyper Venom 3. So what you see here, you've got a mixture of kind of chevron studs and kind of like square, like hexagonal conical studs as well. So what this does, it provides for like still a quite aggressive traction and stability while moving in direction. So, you know, it's not as responsive as a material per se, but it's not as like bad either. But yeah, it's like the best of both worlds essentially. It's a good sole play. You can actually feel like, even though when you're changing direction at high speeds, it also feels like you're always in control and always in balance as well. You never feel like you're going to lose balance when you're running in these, well, for me anyway. So people often get confused what is meant by feel for the ball. So what I define feel for the ball is just how the ball feels when you carry out like the kind of basic movements of when you're playing football. So pretty much mostly all the striking movements. So not necessarily striking, so like how does dribbling feel, how does passing feel, how does like kicking the ball, like whether it's crossbar challenge, shooting, clearances, whatever it is, how does it feel when you're in this boot? Now I want to touch on like the kind of like ridges from the flyknit to like the kind of like silicone ones that are part of the upper. Because of these like kind of several points of contact on the boot, it's almost like nerves. Yeah, you almost get this kind of like stimulation, or like you almost feel like each contact point when you strike with the ball. So when you're dribbling, you're always going to get a good amount of grip. I felt it wasn't too overly aggressive like you got with like the first generation of Hyper Venom. And then it's also not like to the point where like you have to like think about, you're not going to strike it too hard before you actually kick a ball. But like you do, when you do strike the ball as passing, crossing, you get a very strong sensation of like you've connected the ball very well, which I do like as well. Now, I wouldn't say that it's the perfect boot, but it's very, very close. The only thing I would necessarily, or maybe complain about, is maybe the fact that this kind of iridescent chrome finish that you see around the hair and then on the edges is gonna fade. So I mean, cosmetically, it's gonna affect the boot, but in terms of actually affects the performance of the boot, not a chance. And then the other thing is like the fact that it's a limited edition. It's like quite a shame that this is just a concept boot from Nike to show off some technology. Really and truly, I wish more people could get the actual feeling of how this boot feels and experience how it performs in matches and whatnot, because a lot of people are unfortunately going to miss out. For those interested, they retailed for £245, and I do believe if it's like the other flyknit Ultra that came out 5 years ago, that it will come out in different colorways, but again it will be in limited edition. So apart from that, I can't really fault the boot in any way, shape or form. Like I've only used it a few times, but this is probably, yeah, like I said before, it's probably the best boot I've used straight out of the box. For a long time, my favorite boot was the first generation of Hyper Venom, but this might be like, you know, the boot that was made for my feet. And that is it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed my playtest / review of the Nike Phantom Ultra Venom. Yeah, I finally got it right. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And you know what, in the comment section, tell me which is your favorite generation of the Hyper Venom. Is it the 1? Is it the 2? Is it the 2.5 where they changed it back to the original upper? Is it the 3? Or is it the Ultra Venom if you tried it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And like I always said at the end of the video, my name is Sub. This has been SubStanceFtbl. Thank you for watching.